Hold on. There you go. Start over.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Economic Development Authority meeting this evening. Tonight is Monday, February 9th. Audra, can you have the record show that our assistant city attorneys present, our city planner, along with all voting members, our president, VP, right? We're not the council.
Yeah.
Along with our city administrator. We will move on to item 2 to consider approval of the minutes from February 10th, 2025.
Madam President,
Yes.
I move to approve the minutes as written.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, seconded by Corey. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next item is under bills and communication. I will turn this over to Adam. We will review the summary of the 2025 financials.
Get rid of stuff here. Okay. Madam President, Commissioners, in the packet is summary financials from 2025 for the two funds of the EDA, both the result of the lease revenue issue in 2024. These are unaudited, will be included with the city's comprehensive financial report that will be presented to you likely in June of this year at a city council meeting. So provided some summary financial data. The first page is just a trial balance of the debt fund for this issue. So at year end, there was $398,000 included within the trust account at US Bank to help pay for future debt service. Unreserved fund balance of $814,000 beginning of the year, end of the year. On the bottom right corner would be about $416,000. In 2025, there was an interest payment of $439,000 and also some fiscal agent fees. At the US Bank Trust account, this money does earn interest. So there was $23,000 of interest applied to the bond account at US Bank. The next page in the packet is just kind of a more transactional view of what went into and what came out of that trust account. You can see the monthly interest revenue going in and also that debt service payment that I mentioned at $439,000 in August of last year. Upcoming in February, later this month, there is a debt service interest payment that will be outgoing of this account at $375,000. So you can see the cash balance within that trust account is sufficient to pay that interest payment. Later on in 2026, activity will include the lease revenue payments from the city to the EDA that will be deposited into this account, and there will be an additional debt service interest and principal payment in August. Next up on page 3 is the construction side of this bond issue. Cash with fiscal agent at the end of the year, $10.3 million. You see the negative amount on the top line. So when the city pays for the construction cost, it goes out of that cash account, and then we draw from the trust account at US Bank to reimburse those costs. So that credit amount in the cash very top line is replenished month to month. So we pay out, and then the next month we reimburse the city for those costs with the bond proceeds. Much like the debt service account, it does earn interest. There is more cash in the construction account. So for 2025, interest revenue of $565,000 and project cost of $10.8 million. Again, this is unaudited. There are still accrual entries for accounts payable and project costs that would fluctuate that building improvement project cost line item. And then lastly, for financial information, just showing the ins and outs of that trust account. Interest applied each month, and then you can see the monthly draws that are coming from that to reimburse for the project cost with those bond proceeds. So at the end of the year, it shows that $10.3 million. And then there's a pending draw for what was paid in January of 26 that will show up in the city's bank account in February for 1.7 million. Can answer any questions on the summary financials. Again, would be included in the audit report later this year for the city.
Questions?
Madam President,
Yes.
can you remind me the source of the 398, the cash that's in?
Fund 303 or
Yeah, the Fund
Okay.
303 was
Yeah,
that our deposit or was that?
Commissioner Dunlap, as part of the bond closing, there are proceeds that go to the construction account, and then there are also proceeds that go to the debt service, the bond account. The original deposit of 814,000 came from that original issuance and went into the bond account to pay for those first two interest payments.
Okay. And then the payment in August of last year and then February of this year, that 100% of that is interest.
Correct.
Okay.
And then in August of 2026, principal and interest payments. And then every August, there'll be principal and interest. February is always just interest.
Oh, okay.
Structured very similar to any other geo type debt that the city would have. Any other questions on those?
anyone? Okay. Moving on to item 4 under new business. We have the first item is the election presentation by our executive director for elections of officers.
Yes, Madam President, Commissioners, the bylaws of the Economic Development Authority outline that there shall be officers. It outlines what those positions are, which include a president, a vice president, a treasurer, an assistant treasurer, and a secretary. There are certain members, certain officers that do need to be members of the board, such as in yourself. The one that I would certainly recommend as a staff appointee would be Secretary Etzel. Aligning that with her city clerk role in handling minutes and packet preparation. Otherwise, the other 4, I would take direction from the Board of Commissioners.
Officers, any nominations?
Do I have to make a motion for
Yes.
mayor? Make a motion for Jessica for president.
We have a motion for me as president from Corey and seconded by Michelle. Is there any other nominations? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Madam Mayor, Madam President, I'll make a motion for Audra for secretary.
Second. We have a motion for Audra Etzel as a secretary from Corey, seconded by Michelle. Is there any other nominations? Don't all raise your hand on this one. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. We have other roles to fill. Who wants one?
I made all 5 motions last year, so.
Oh, okay. So you're not doing it this year?
Madam President, Commission.
Did you?
You took the one I did last year.
Madam President, one point of clarification, they don't all need to be individual motions and seconds and votes unless you prefer it that way. So
We are open to doing it however everyone would like to. Everyone, raise your hand, tell me what you want to be, and I'll make a motion for you.
Tina, you want to be vice president?
Sure, I'll be vice president.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Corey for Tina as vice president, seconded by Ryan. Is there any other motions? Right, we're doing one at a time right now, so.
I'll nominate Ryan as treasurer.
Oh, wait, no, we're still under vice
Oh,
president.
I'm sorry. We have to do them one at a time.
Well, now that we've done it this way, we are doing it one at a time. All right, is there any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Tina is vice president. Now we have treasurer.
Ryan, I nominate Ryan Dunlop as treasurer.
Second. There is a motion from Michelle and a second from Tina for Ryan for treasurer. Is there any other nominations? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Ryan is the treasurer.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll make a motion to appoint Michelle as assistant.
All right.
Second.
I get out of it.
All right. There is a motion to appoint Michelle as assistant treasurer from Corey, seconded from Tina. Is there any other nominations? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. We have our new roles, which are the same.
Same as the old rule.
Same.
Yes.
Exactly.
All right. Moving on to the second item, which is item 4.2 under new business is the official newspaper. Adam?
Madam President, Commissioners, much like the city, in the event that the Economic Development Authority needs to post any legal notices, we are recommending to designate the Star News as the official newspaper for the EDA. There's a resolution attached and a motion for your consideration.
Madam President,
Yes, right.
I move to adopt resolution 2026-01 designating an official newspaper.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, seconded by Tina. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. We have an official newspaper. Moving on to item 4.3, the official depository.
Madam President, Commissioners, again, similar to annual business at the city level, the Economic Development Authority should declare a designated depository. In this case, the only funds are held with the trust account at U.S. Bank. Resolution attached declaring U.S. Bank as a designated depository for the EDA.
Madam President,
That's fine.
I move to approve resolution 2026-02 designating depositories.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, seconded by Tina. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to item 5, nothing listed under old business. Do we have anything, Adam?
Nothing from me, Madam President.
Moving on to reports. Item 6.1 is our annual meeting report.
Yes, thank you. In the packet, there is a brief memo that I'll outline some of the materials and then hope to have a discussion around these affordable housing aid. So the memo briefly outlines other funds that are not necessarily Economic Development Authority funds, but for the purpose of economic development. So there is a fund, number 255, within the city's financial records, year-end 2025 unaudited cash balance of $430,000. There are two fund balance components of that, restricted amounts, given their receipt from the state of Minnesota and the restrictions placed on them in the financial statements. And for their use, they are restricted for certain reasons. That number at the end of the year will be $129,300. And then there are unassigned funds that are really up to the purview and discretion of the EDA Board of Commissioners on use, as well as the City Council in the amount of $301,000. As we progress through year-end audit procedures, we will be allocating additional interest to this account as we get through that process. So the numbers here will change just slightly as that interest allocation is completed. On the statewide affordable housing aid, these are funds received to the city from 2023 through 2025 and totaled at $129,000. We are allotted an additional $26,000 for year 2026 that would be in addition to that restricted amount. They need to be spent on qualifying projects outlined by the state of Minnesota, Department of Revenue. Our first deadline on that would be by the end of 2027. The city would need to expend $52,757 on qualifying projects. Lately, Otsego and the other cities in Wright County, Class 1 cities within this county include Otsego, St. Michael, Monticello, and Buffalo were the ones that received direct allotments of aid from the state. All other Wright County cities were lumped into the amount received by Wright County. So we've had ongoing conversations with them on development programs that might meet the criteria for this. Attached to this memo in the packet was some information from Wright County that we can go to now. So this memo dated December 1st is still relevant. There have been some updates since it was issued. So at their meeting on February 3rd, the Wright County Board was presented some information about these uses and partnering with the member cities in the county on development of programs. So what I have heard from the assistant administrator at Wright County was that the board did allocate some of their funds to this transitional housing program, Wright County Community Action, and also that within their own county, they administer emergency housing assistance. So they did allocate portions of Wright County's funding to those two programs. We do have our next meeting with the Board of Commissioners on March 10th to continue the discussion as to how those city funds from the four that I talked about could flow through the county into these programs. So some of the things that they were proposing is a single family housing rehab program. No specifics about what that looks like yet, but a simple example might be if there's a property that the people that own that property meet the income requirements set forth in the state, that there could be a loan to improve the condition of that home, whether it's a roof or siding or ADA accessibility or something that would align with the program requirements from the state. Transitional housing, I am honestly a little unfamiliar with the Wright County Community Action Program, but the board certainly seemed to like the work that they were doing. They were present at that February 3rd meeting. Contract with hotels for temporary emergency housing assistance through Wright County that I believe is an existing program that they administer with their own local funds. Development assistance. Again, these projects would need to meet certain income requirements as to how they could be applied. So it can't just be a market rate housing, whether that's apartment or single family. It would have to be some sort of subsidized housing, or they would have to meet a certain threshold of median income. So as of now, city planner like myself, we're not aware of any proposed projects within the city that would be providing that type of housing in the community. To be able to assist on the construction with. Also, as I mentioned, the amount is about $129,000. So when you're talking about a new construction, helping out with some of that, how far is that going to go? And is that going to really close the gap on making something affordable for the end user? And then the last one Wright County outlined was permanent emergency housing assistance. Again, so I'm presenting these in a very summarized fashion, but hoping to have some discussion if there's a preference from the board and feedback that I can provide to Wright County to pool these funds with the other cities. Again, I think the idea there is that maybe not every single dollar from Otsego is going to end up in Otsego, but for the greater good of Wright County, it would stay within the borders. So
I had a question, and you kind of just answered it a little bit about it not staying in Otsego. So if the plan is to send it to the county, is the county then going to focus though since they obviously have their own pool of money that they were allotted, and then the four cities are Buffalo, St. Michael, Monticello, and Otsego.
mm-hmm.
Are they planning to? Has there been discussion of focusing those funds, whatever is chosen, on those communities, or would it be a blanket to the whole county?
I think there would And entering those conversations, and it's come across from other cities as well, is that, their EDAs, their councils have had the preference that it benefits their community members first, but in the event that there's not enough demand within those communities, that it still is used for the purposes outlined by the countywide.
Okay.
Again, the goal of partnering with the county is so that each of the other 4 cities, or specifically Otsego in this case, won't have to develop and administer these type of programs as an additional service that we don't currently offer, typically not aligned with a smaller city like ours that we're providing housing assistance.
Well, and the hard part is you've got to use 52,000 by the end of 2027. And you got to use the balance, and I'm assuming then thereafter that. So it's not a forever program.
Right.
These are,
It's limited. So I have some questions. Don't.
nope, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done for now. I have more.
Oh, nice party, by the way.
Thank you.
So with the single family housing rehab, would that go to like people that are in a restricted income bracket or whatever that income bracket is, and they need like an ADA ramp, or they had a life-changing event or something like that, where now they're wheelchair bound, excuse me, and they need some improvements within their home to make it accessible. Is that kind of the understanding direction of that one?
Commissioner, that's certainly one example. It could be for whatever program criteria the member cities in Wright County develop as part of that program. That was an example. Maybe it's replacing exterior windows and doors to, keep a home in living conditions. Maybe it's providing a new roof, a new septic system, something that the people who are applying are meeting median income criteria that the program would outline, and maybe are having difficulty obtaining financing through a more traditional method as a bank loan or home equity, something like that.
So that's still a loan to them,
Yes, it's
subsidized.
not necessarily. It's subsidized probably on the interest rate. Again, that's really dependent on what that program criteria developed is, and then also what is the amount of the loan? Are we talking 5,000? How much are you going to loan out to these? I've seen these programs back in a previous job where you would audit them, and you can basically apply them as a second mortgage. You could put a lien on the property so that when and if they would sell that property, that money would come back into the program and be able to go to a new loan for a similar reason.
To piggyback on Michelle's comment, is that the plan? Is that Wright County's intent? Is that the state of Minnesota's intent, that it's to come back then as a loan, or is it just a one-time infusion to these potential programs for the county?
Really, I'm looking for that feedback. There's no there's no loan program that's written at this point. We're looking for feedback on what the elected officials in each community want to do, what the elected officials at Wright County want to do with that funding. And we can then take that feedback and create programs or criteria that those programs would be administered by. The cyclical aspect of being able to reuse affordable housing aid dollars or like programs more than just at a one-time level, I think is appealing, at least from the staff side of things. But that does require constant administration as well.
Right. That's where I was kind of going. Do they have staff that can manage that? And if they loan this money for, let's say they pick single family housing rehab or transitional housing, what is their method of getting that money back? What's the duration on it? There's a lot of unknowns. We can feel good about all of these things, but what does it actually look like? Does the money go out this year and it doesn't come back for 10 years? Then it's not really an active program, I guess.
And I like the idea of it being a loan, but if people are meeting that criteria, that means they're really struggling. If they're having some sort of serious issue, can they really pay back that loan?
Right.
even if it's a subsidized thing, and just a lot of questions around that. What could that look like? A little more information would be helpful. I'm in favor of, the emergency housing assistance, or even the hotel stuff to help support families that have a, life-altering event that they can't stay in their home. That type of situation. If there was a little more meat to the single family thing, it was kind of a grant thing for some situations. Would be nice, but that's just a comment. There's plenty of people that, with the aging community that, the baby boomers and stuff like that, aging and needing resources and those types of things as they become less and less able. There's a point where it doesn't make sense for those individuals to go into. It's easier for them, more cost effective for them to stay in their home versus going into a care facility. And just, some of those thoughts.
Adam, is there a way that, because you mentioned 4 cities within Wright County, does every city get the same amount of money?
Madam President, largely based on population.
Okay. No, I'm just gonna throw this out there because I don't know if this would be something that we'd want to do or the rest of the community would want to do, but to make our money go further, if we'd all want to combine our monies and create something for Wright County that we could potentially. I like the fact of the emergency, was it home housing assistance? If we can combine the pot together, since it's Wright County, and I don't know again if the cities would want to do that or if we'd want to do that, but I was just thinking to figure out the best possible way to utilize this money and be able to give back to the community.
Madam President, that's certainly the goal of our conversations between those other cities in Wright County, is to try and pool the funds to do more good throughout the county, than to localize it necessarily to each city.
Madam President,
Yes.
I think one way, if we did want to keep it local, maybe there would be an opportunity to work with the treatment facility. If they have some need I know they provide housing at the facility. If they need some repairs or something like that, we could help with that. Or those individuals who have graduated from that facility, if they need temporary housing afterwards or loans or something like that. That's the only thing I can think of within the city.
But they're also, if you look at the single family housing rehab, we do have probably some homes, as Michelle was talking about, where people are potentially in need of, they probably might not qualify for roofs or windows. I mean, you can drive around the city, and I'm not going to say exactly what roads that you can see, but there are some homes that if there were a program, $10,000 to help improve that property, make it maintained, livable.
My concern with something like that is we have a time frame for some of this money.
Yeah.
And advertising something like that and getting people to use it.
I don't think we could do it locally. I think it would have to be through the county. Like if the
So
county were,
give the county the money and then have it.
yeah, because you look at it, because it talks about Sherburne County. So I did
Right.
quickly try to Google their program, and it is like Adam talked about. It's roofs, windows. You do have to meet income requirements.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not against your idea of working with the treatment facility in town, but there are other group homes in town too. So how do you then pick? Do we open it up to everyone? Because there are group homes that are ran out of homes in our community.
Yeah, my thought was just how do we get that money quickly in use?
I think, if it's on a county level, obviously if there's somebody that responds from Otsego, then the Otsego for our funds that we contribute, then those funds would go directly to Otsego most immediately. If you advertise, and this is the end of 2027, so we do have time to advertise, but we still have to sort through what that program is. advertise for, assistance for those who need it. I think there is some time there, but I don't know how fast, and this is, private sector versus public sector, idea, right?
Right.
There might be time, but I'm looking to other people that live in this world more so than I do to respond to that.
One other comment I had, so as you said, Wright County Community Action was present at the meeting on the 3rd. But there are people like their organizations like Rivers of Hope, which are domestic violence. They're advocates. They place women and children into, or it can be men and women, but mostly women and children into temporary housing also. So there are other organizations that are already set up in the county. Was there any discussion of pairing with some of those organizations outside of Wright County Community Action?
Madam President, Commissioners, I was not at the meeting on February 3rd. We had the State of the Cities event for the Chamber of Commerce, so I was not able to attend, nor was the City of St. Michael. So I think that's part of the reason why they're continuing that discussion on March 10th.
Sure.
Two, I don't think it's one program that's maybe coming out of this collaboration with the other cities in Wright County. I think looking to get feedback on which ones appeal to you, and I'm hearing
Emergency housing.
maybe the housing rehab, but the unknown of what that program criteria, what are the terms of those programs, what does that look like on the back end? But I'm also hearing support for transitional housing, not only through WCCA, but maybe some other type of similar organization within the county that could partner with maybe the treatment facility, and they're more familiar with the people that are coming in.
Well, and there's a large
facility, so
treatment facility in Waverly, which is in Wright County also.
Right.
So,
Right.
But in the scenarios we're talking about, we're giving the money to the county.
I think there would ultimately have to be some sort of agreement or memorandum of understanding that this is the statewide affordable housing aid program administered by Wright County with funding from each of the 4 cities and Wright County, that it would go into these different areas, maybe on a percentage wise. And then the county, as they're expending them, maybe they're invoicing us for our portion of that. So again, we haven't got completely to the dynamics of how that money's flowing to the county or not. So
I think it's a good idea to try to pool the resources and be diligent about it. Otherwise, if all these cities that don't have quite enough staff to develop these different programs within our own community, having the county help manage that and making sure that those funds get utilized.
right. Corey, you had your hand.
Madam President. Oh, you're okay. Adam, we did this last year, right? If I remember, we didn't do anything. Was that?
I would say last year we were even more preliminary than where we are at this point,
Right.
Which is still very preliminary. I think there's more ideas being discussed on the table and presented to you tonight for some feedback than there was a year ago.
Yeah, because when I guess I was looking at it a little bit and just what our neighbors were doing, and I found that I think Buffalo was putting it towards development assistance, and Monticello was development incentives with rehab. I do like the emergency assistance idea.
And are those their plan, or that's just what they've discussed they would do and not give it to the county?
I think that's been use case scenarios.
Okay.
I don't know that for sure, but, so I guess I'm concurring with that stuff, but like, can we get more information maybe and wait on this a little bit?
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
I'm not requesting any sort of action, mostly just feedback, so that at our next meeting with the other cities and Wright County, that we can either cross certain things off of the list and quit spending time and effort on developing program criteria that might apply to those, and better focus on coming up with program criteria that's supported throughout the elected officials in the county. So,
sure.
So to that point, are there any within this list? And again, this is basically the extent of where that brainstorming session has gone so far, are there any that you absolutely would prefer to not participate in?
I guess for me, the only criteria I'm concerned about is the things I wouldn't want to do is anything where we're putting this money towards something we're going to have to continue to support through other funds, you know, building something and then we get a small temporary influx of cash and then we have to support it ongoing. So to me, getting into having the county administer it and having that go towards programs that are sort of temporary relief, I think is probably the best way to use funds like this.
I would agree with that. And that's kind of where my level of questions was going, is just that if we did something like a loan program, you're not going to get the money back. And then you've now given it one time. This money sits out there for 10 years, 20 years, whenever someone gives it back or sells their home, as you mentioned. And this is like a rehab situation of a home housing rehab. And so then it's now what happens in the meantime. So this program sits out there that's kind of there, but it's not there. But when we get some money back, so I'd rather see it, again, like you said, here's an infusion to make some stuff better right now, but this is limited funds. Do not count on this,
Right.
and move it forward. Yeah. As when it lays out here that we only have to spend the 757 by that year, you still know what the total is. I mean, we've got
A lot.
129 plus another 26,000. So those other cities are getting an infusion in 2026 that we did not anticipate getting.
Correct. When the program was first set forth by the legislature, 2025 was intended to be the last year of funding.
And they somehow just found some extra money.
Unable to answer that.
Okay. I just asking. Just want it noted. Okay.
All right. I will take that and report back at a future either EDA or city council meeting once I have some more actionable items for you.
Okay.
Then you have TIF districts on your memo.
Yeah. Pull that back up. Madam President, Commissioners, this is more of just an update on the 3 active TIF districts within the community. District number 1, Great River Center. Taxes payable 2026 is the last year of the tax increment. So the last note payment will be in February of 2027. What happens when that district goes offline is that the tax capacity goes back into the pool for determination of the tax rate. So we should see a slight influx in tax capacity that applies to the tax rate. So kind of the point of the whole tax increment financing concept. District 3 and District 4 are long-lived districts and will extend through February of 2046. But so far, those projects, the first 2 are fully completed. District number 4, phase 2, which does not have any TIF components to it, is still proceeding with construction. All of the TIF was on phase 1. And then city-owned property, we still are the proud owners of 3 parcels for future development. There have been closed session discussions, so we won't go into those at previous meetings in 2025. Staff are still working with the potential buyers on that. Is going slower than certainly anticipated when that information was presented to you last year. But we still have those listing agreements with Commercial Realty Solutions and just hoping to find a user for all 3 of them as soon as possible. So that is all I have for you as far as the annual report this evening. Can certainly answer any questions.
Does anyone have anything? All right.
Madam President, at this time, there is no defined meeting schedule of the EDs. So at any point, you can request staff to schedule a meeting of the EDA. But at this point, possibly until we have more information on the housing aid programs, that we'll just kind of wait and see.
I'm curious, you made me think of something. Is there a 3-day notice requirement for EDA meetings?
Madam President, yes, it would be similar to the statute on the city level.
Okay.
Great. No one else has anything, then a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Tina, seconded by Michelle. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The meeting is ended. Thank you all for attending. Which no one attended.